I know, I feel like I'm fighting with the sunshine. It's hard, but we're winning, so it's a good thing. I was at a lunch last February that was kind of a big deal. It wasn't an Oscar lunch, although it was full of a certain kind of celebrity, maybe luxury celebrity. Some people here might even have been there. It was a lunch to launch Milan Fashion Week, and it was hosted for the first time ever by the Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi. Now, when I say first time ever, it was his first time hosting the lunch, but even more importantly, it was the first time I can ever remember that a head of state actually opened a fashion week. It's kind of a big deal. Normally, politicians like to stay as far away as they possibly can from the word luxury. To tell us how this changed in Italy and why, I'm very pleased to introduce President Riccardo Monti of the Italian Trade Federation.
Thank you, Vanessa. I had prepared a presentation called Beauty Will Save the World. This is from Dostoevsky, it's not mine. We have a lot of beauty in Italy. We're lucky, we're blessed with a lot of beauty. We build a big industry around beauty. It's a very relevant industry. The reason why we convinced our Prime Minister to come is because we show him the data, how much good employment, value added, how much great wealth this industry builds in our country. It's a very relevant industry in size. According to our estimate, 41% of all the fashion luxury industry, if we account accessories and jewelry in Europe, is Italian. 35% of the export outside of the European Union are Italian. We have a dominant share of existing brands, and we have also a dominant share of the relevant technology, from textile and machine to mold, gold, or to treat leather. So it's a very relevant industry, and it's everywhere in Italy, north, south, east, and west. We are a very divided country in terms of the economy. So that is why it's very relevant, and also is an industry in which we believe we are facing a big growth potential. So not only is very big, we believe we can grow even further. And by the way, you have heard my friend Brunello Cucinelli. My job is to promote Italy and made in Italy. So you might think it's an easy job. It is an easy job because everybody loves made in Italy and whatever comes out of Italy. But it's a tough job because we have set some very aggressive target and very ambitious objectives. So what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to expand our export. We want to double in the next 5 years. And also we want to have our company grow. We need at least 10 more companies in the 1 billion euro revenue league. And we need to take a few hundred companies to become serious, stable exporter in the large market. So these are the objectives that we have. But let's see how we're getting there. What are we doing? What are we trying to do to get there? First of all, we try to reinforce our competitive advantages, which is what? Is craftsmanship, is creativity, is the fact that we have a whole industry that goes from the finished product to the design, to the schools, to the machinery that treat the raw material that makes the goods. So we have an ecosystem, and we're trying to strengthen this competitive advantage. We're trying to build sustainability. People are ready to pay a premium on sustainability. People want to know where the product comes from. And if we want to compete as Italian against much lower cost manufacturer, we need to take that. We need to bring our concept and be able to document where these things come from, how you treat them, who's working on it, how you deal with the whole ecosystem, the whole value chain. We also trying to enter new markets. We're doing a big effort in frontier market. We launched a massive campaign in Africa. We opened 7 offices in Africa. We have a big promotion effort in the Alianza del Pacifico, so the whole country from Mexico all the way down to Chile. We are building our presence in Southeast Asia, which is again a new market for us. We're also dedicated a special attention to the biggest market for us, which is the US market. 2015, we grew over 30%. It's big, real big growth. We saw some slowdown, but we also see a lot of growth potential. Our brands tend to be really focused on the Northeast, and maybe some of the big cities like LA, Miami. We have a huge expansion market in Midwest, in the South, in state that are not a big traditional market for Made in Italy. So we're pushing there. What else are we doing? We're also trying to engage the big retailers. It's very important because we know that a lot of our great company, Brunello Cucinelli 10 years ago, nobody knew about him. Now everybody knows about him. There's hundreds of new Brunello Cucinelli coming on the way. We need to help them go in the big market. We need to help them go in the big retailer. We need to have their voice heard. We need to help them go online. So that's another challenge. It's never done before. Big investment online. We're not yet there. Our online industry as a whole is a bit lagging behind the other countries, but we need to invest there. We're also trying to build a program to reinforce our brands in the millennial. This weird group of consumer, they behave very differently, and we're trying to understand, and we want to make sure that also this new upcoming big group of spender, they understand the value of Made in Italy and what's great into Made in Italy. So we are trying to do a very comprehensive effort to take this industry, which is very relevant, to the next stage. We're also trying to do another thing, which is attract capital. We badly need growth capital. A lot of our very good company, they do not have the kind of money you need to grow global. The big French group, their strength came from being big retailer. They had the space, they knew retail, they had the financial muscle. So we're trying to build, hopefully, a group of the new Prada, the new Armani, the new Dolce & Gabbana, new Versace, by attracting growth capital from abroad into this seeds of great company, great idea, great creativity. So it's a tough job. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. And I'm sure that you all know this industry. And we're here also to understand, to smell what's going on, what's new, what's hot, what's going on. That's why I'm very happy that Vanessa invited me to speak here. And I'm very happy also to get some questions from the audience and also to give more information about what we as a government agency, again, I always say I'm a bureaucrat, so I cannot do much in this fancy industry, but at least we try very hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to join me here? So I want to start off the questions, and then I'll open it up to the audience. Hillary Clinton gets her hair cut at Bergdorf Goodman, and it makes every newspaper, and not in a particularly nice way. Not ours. We're above that. But every other newspaper. How do you transform the perception of that kind of relationship? Speaking of Prime Minister Renzi, how do you get him to openly and publicly embrace luxury, in a country where a lot of people probably don't like that idea?
Well, of course, this is always a very divisive topic because people like, especially after so many years of crisis, they like to see very frugal kind of lifestyle. They like to see, politician and institution to be, very low key. However, for a country like Italy, with the kind of numbers we're dealing with, I think the message is going through. I see a total different. For example, we had a big crisis on the yachting industry because there was a perception that yachting was linked to tax evasion. A lot of people were making very low tax declaration. They were having a boat that was costing them $300,000 per year. So I think this is over. I think people understand that we're talking about creating jobs, talking about creating wealth, talking about giving opportunity to our young generation. So I think that not only Prime Minister Renzi, but the whole Italian ecosystem is becoming much more careful. Brunello mentioned what he's doing in his village. These stories are heard. People know that the luxury industry is a big breadwinner, and we need to even further communicate this. But I think we totally changed the attitude. In the last couple of years, it changed completely.
And yet in other countries, it's not the same. So do you see yourself as a pioneer or a leader in this particular area? Do you think that Italy can sort of reconcile politics and luxury?
I think so. Actually, we've been really focusing on a lot of the affordable luxury, thing that makes sense in terms of price to quality ratio. Also, the new upcoming brands that I was mentioning, many of them have very reasonable price point. And I think, again, we're talking about a very segmented industry. you talk about industry where a pair of shoes can go from $10,000 to $50. So I think that Italy is very good at occupying every niche and every space in this very wide range of products. And in general terms, our positioning as we are the one who manufacture. If you look at the shoes industry, almost every luxury shoes in the world, no matter where the brand comes from, are made in Italy. One of our challenges really to get a bigger share of the value added, because the shoes you buy in New York store for $5,000, probably the producer somewhere in Veneto or in Tuscany, he got $100. So one of our focus is really to grow local brands that can keep in our country a higher share of value added. That's part of our challenges.
You talked about attracting capital to help grow these brands. A lot of foreign capital, including those big French groups that you talked about, are very interested in acquiring Italian brands, but they want to own them. They're not trying to give them capital to grow on their own. So, how do you feel about that? Is that okay if someone, a foreign company buys an Italian brand to grow it?
Well, it is totally okay. If you look at, the kind of investment, the Gucci, the Bottega Veneta story is a win-win situation. You get a great product, great name. You boost them in a turbo retail, big infrastructure, and they explode. If you look at the employment, the investment, all this company did after being acquired from foreign investor, it's a success story. Of course, it's not always a success story. So we have to make sure that, for example, we need also some of our big guys to become predator, not prey. No, that's part of the game. But so far, the track record of foreign investor in Italian fashion luxury industry is a huge, big success story.
So you're saying that Kering pays its taxes?
It pays taxes, it pays everything.
Okay, any questions from the audience? I'm going to call on people.
So we heard from Carlo Capassa, and recently Carlo Capassa and Ennio Capassa left their company that they built for many, many years, and it's a wonderful luxury brand, Costume National. And I'm wondering if what happened to Costume National and to the Capassa family is what you were talking about when you were saying sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, if you look at individual cases, probably this is not exactly the same cases. I have immense admiration for what Carlo Capassa has been doing, and I'm sure his next brand will be much better and bigger, more successful than Costume National. So I wish him the best of luck, but it's not the same case of a big, large French group buying Gucci or Bottega Veneta. It's a totally different story. But again, if Italy is so successful, because we have not only great creative talent, we have also great entrepreneurs in this industry. And these people, they love what they do so much that no matter what happens, they will be successful.
Okay, one last question before we break.
Hi, I'm Robert Quirk. I'm with the Irish government and I'm the Vice President of Technology.
Colleague.
Hello. Finally I get my question in. No. I'm just curious to know, traditionally we've supported Italian brands internationalize historically, and do you have any programs internally for where you work with other countries to help them break ground or to go global?
Well, we've been working with some other government agency to do trade and export promotion. By the way, ICE, our organization, is the oldest export promotion agency in the whole world. It was founded in 1926. And the first president was Alberto Pirelli, the founder of Pirelli, the tire company. Anyway, so we have a good cooperation. Usually, what we do, we cooperate a lot with the sort of emerging market to help them set up this kind of organization. But we also have great cooperation with UKTI. We have great cooperation with the Turkish Investment Agency. We have great cooperation with a number of other large countries like the Brazilian APEC. So we like to, I think there's a lot of lesson learned, and it's good to share ideas and share opinion. If I think at Ireland, Ireland is a great success story, of course, based on a totally different concept. Limited taxation, English-speaking country, very educated people, a little bit of acceptance of people coming from the rest of the world to go there and not pay taxes like the big tech guys, which is again it's a success story. I have a lot of admiration of the work you guys have been doing in your country. But of course, the model for Ireland is certainly not replicable for France or Italy. So I didn't think in a country like Ireland it's easy to share a success story and benchmark each other. We'd rather do that with the large manufacturing countries like Germany, like Spain. We try to cooperate with the more similar organization because we think there's more to learn about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Presidente.
Thank you for inviting.